What would you do if a trusted family member secretly sold your grandmother's ancestral jewelry, the same jewelry meant to secure your future, only to discover you had the receipt proving it was legally yours? My name is Lauren, and this is the story of how my uncle thought he could steal from me, how my family nearly turned against me, and how I revealed the truth that shattered his lies in front of everyone. Before I begin, let me know in the comments where you are watching from, and if you have ever been underestimated by greedy relatives, remember to like this video, share it, and subscribe to Mortal Revenge, because this story proves that sometimes the strongest weapon is not anger but proof. My grandmother Evelyn was not wealthy in the way people usually imagine. She did not own sprawling mansions or million-dollar bank accounts, but she had something far more meaningful, an ancestral jewelry chest that had been passed down through generations of women in our family. The chest was small but striking, carved from oak. Its lid carried delicate floral patterns etched by hand. Inside was a velvet lining that cushioned pieces of jewelry unlike any I had ever seen in stores: heavy gold bangles, necklaces with intricate craftsmanship, and rings that carried history. Each piece told a story: my great-grandmother's wedding necklace, my grandmother's engagement ring, the bangles she wore on her wedding day. Together they formed not just wealth, but memory, identity, and heritage. From the time I was a child, my grandmother would open the chest, show me the treasures, and tell me, Lauren, these are not just ornaments, they are our history. Someday they will be yours. Guard them with your life. I had no idea how much I would one day need to take those words literally. When I turned 20, Grandma did something unusual. She took me to our family jeweler, Mr. Patel, a man who had known our family for decades. Piece by piece, he laid out the contents of the chest, documented them carefully, and updated their valuations. When the inventory was complete, he handed a typed and sealed receipt to Grandma for her signature. Then, to my surprise, she wrote my name as the legal owner. I remember blinking at her. Why me? She gave me a look both stern and tender. Because you're the only one I trust. Your father is gone, your mother's heart is too soft, and your uncle, she paused, pressing her lips together, Victor, has always loved money more than family. I did not argue. I took the receipt, folded it neatly, and tucked it into an envelope. It felt like just another piece of paperwork at the time. I did not yet realize it was my most powerful shield. 2 years later, Grandma passed away peacefully in her sleep. Her funeral brought the family together, but grief was not the only emotion present. My uncle Victor, her only surviving son, looked restless, not broken, not mourning, but impatient, like a man waiting for something to begin. After the funeral, the family gathered at her house. I slipped upstairs to her bedroom, perhaps to feel closer to her, perhaps just to see the chest again. But when I opened the closet where it had always been kept, my heart stopped. The oak box was gone. I searched everywhere, in drawers, under the bed, behind the dresser. Nothing. Panic set in. The jewelry was not just valuable, it was irreplaceable. I asked my mother. She shook her head. My cousins shrugged with indifference, but Victor avoided my eyes. That was the moment I knew. A week later, I confronted him directly. Uncle Victor, do you know where Grandma's jewelry is? I asked. He smiled faintly, a smile that felt more like a smirk. Oh, that old junk. Do not worry about it. I took care of it. I will handle the estate. Handle it? How? He looked me dead in the eyes. It is gone. I sold it. Better to turn it into cash than let it rot in a box. The blood drained from my face. You sold it? He shrugged casually. Relax, Lauren. I am her son. That jewelry belonged to me more than anyone else. You are too young to manage such things. I got a good price for it. You should be thanking me. I wanted to scream, but instead I walked away in silence, because unlike him, I remembered something important. I had the receipt, and my name was on it. Victor knew I would not stay quiet, so he launched his own defense. Within days, whispers began spreading through the family. He told my aunts and cousins that I was ungrateful, that I was inventing stories, that I was trying to claim what was not mine, and the worst part was that people believed him. He is her son after all. Aunt Martha said Lauren should not create drama after the funeral. Cousin Daniel whispered, she is young. She does not understand family property. Another relative nodded. It was as if everyone forgot Grandma's words, forgot how much time I had spent with her, forgot the bond we shared. I was alone, or so Victor thought. I pulled out the envelope from my desk drawer, the one with Mr. Patel's receipt. There it was, in black and white, a full inventory of the ancestral jewelry, signed by my grandmother with ownership transferred to me. It was not just sentiment, it was legal proof. I made copies, both digital and physical. I met with a lawyer, and I paid a quiet visit to Mr. Patel, who confirmed everything and promised to testify if needed. Piece by piece, I built my case, not just to win the jewelry back, but to expose my uncle for the greedy fraud. The confrontation came sooner than expected. Victor Announced a family meeting at Grandma's house to settle the estate. Everyone gathered in the living room. Just like the day of the funeral, Victor cleared his throat. Mother did not leave much. Few small savings accounts, the house, which we will sell and divide, and of course the jewelry, which I already liquidated. I will divide the proceeds fairly. He said it like he was being generous, like he was the hero of the story, but I was not going to let him play that role. I stood up, clutching the envelope in my hand. Actually, Uncle Victor, the jewelry was not yours to sell, it was mine. Gasps rippled through the room. Victor's eyes narrowed. What nonsense is this? I pulled out the receipt and laid it on the table for everyone to see. The room fell silent. One by one, my relatives leaned in, reading the document. Grandma's signature, Mr. Patel's seal, the inventory list, and at the bottom, transferred to Lauren Matthews, legal owner. Victor's face turned red. This is fake. Mr. Patel, who I had invited, quietly stood up from the corner. It is not fake. I prepared this receipt myself. Mrs. Evelyn Matthews brought her granddaughter to me 2 years ago. She made it clear the jewelry belonged to Lauren. The silence broke into chaos. You mean Victor stole it? Aunt Martha gasped. How could he do that? Daniel whispered. All this time he lied to us. Victor slammed his fists on the table. She manipulated my mother. She tricked her into signing this. But nobody was listening to him anymore. They were all looking at me, and for the first time I felt Grandma's strength flow through me. Victor was not going to give up easily. He snarled, threatened to take me to court, claimed he still had rights as a son, but the truth was out, and I had more than just the receipt. I had the law on my side. Still, I knew this was only the beginning, because while my family now doubted him, reclaiming what was rightfully mine would not be simple. The jewelry was gone, sold to strangers, and if I wanted justice, not just for me, but for my grandmother's memory, I would have to fight harder than ever. But I was not afraid, because I had already beaten him once by keeping my silence until the perfect moment, and now it was time to finish what Grandma had started. After I placed the receipt on the table, and everyone saw it, the living room no longer felt like Grandma's house. It felt like a battlefield. Relatives whispered in shock. Some looked at me with sympathy. Others looked at Victor, as if they were seeing him for the first time. But Victor was not finished. He leaned across the table, his voice low and filled with venom. You think a piece of paper makes you smarter than me? I already sold the jewelry. It is gone. You will never see it again. My hands trembled, but my voice did not. Maybe, but the law does not care if it is gone. The law cares about theft, and I can prove you sold something that did not belong to you. For the first time I saw a flicker of fear in his eyes. He stormed out of the house, slamming the door so hard it rattled the windows. But I knew this was not the end. He would fight tooth and nail to keep what he had stolen, and so would I. The next morning I went to see my lawyer, Miss Daniels. I laid everything out for her: the receipt, Mr. Patel's confirmation, the family meeting, Victor's open admission. She listened quietly, tapping her pen on her desk. Then she looked up. Lauren, this is not just a family disagreement. This is theft and fraud. If what you are saying is true, we can build a very strong case. Not only could you reclaim ownership, but he could face criminal charges. The words hit me like thunder. My uncle could end up in prison. Part of me felt guilty. He was still family. But then I remembered Grandma's words, money shows people's character, and Victor had already revealed his MS. Daniels wasted no time. She sent requests to pawnshops and jewelers for records of recent sales. She contacted banks searching for sudden large deposits. She secured Mr. Patel's sworn statement confirming the transfer of ownership. Piece by piece the case came together. Victor did not stay silent. Within a week I received a letter from his attorney. It claimed the receipt was invalid, that Grandma had been mentally unfit at the time, and that I had coerced her into signing it. The irony nearly made me laugh. I had been barely 20 when she made me the owner. She had been sharper than ever. She was not confused. She was protecting me from him. But Victor was desperate. He began visiting relatives, pleading with them, twisting the truth. She tricked Mom. He said, you know how manipulative Lauren can be. She is just a girl. Do you really think Mom would give her everything? Some relatives nodded, torn between loyalty and greed. Others avoided him altogether. It hurt to watch my own family waver, but I reminded myself that truth did not need everyone's approval. It only needed proof. When the day of the hearing arrived, I walked into the courthouse with shaking knees, but a steady heart. Victor sat across from me in an expensive suit, glaring at me like I was his enemy. The judge entered, and the proceedings began. Victor's lawyer argued, first claiming the receipt was fake, that I had pressured my grandmother, and that Victor, as her son, had rightful ownership. Then Miss Daniels rose, calm and precise. She presented the receipt. She showed the photos of each piece of jewelry from the inventory. She called Mr. Patel to the stand where he testified under oath. I prepared this inventory myself, Mrs. Evelyn Matthews was. In perfect health and mind, she specifically instructed me to transfer ownership to her granddaughter Lauren. Victor squirmed in his chair. Then came the final blow: bank statements showing large cash deposits into Victor's account right after Grandma's death. The dates matched the sale of the jewelry. The judge leaned forward. So, Mr. Victor Matthews, you sold assets you did not own, deposited the money into your account, and then misled your family about it. Victor stammered, No, it is not like that. I thought, but it was too late. The truth was laid bare after hours of arguments. The judge delivered the decision. The jewelry legally belongs to Lauren Matthews. By selling what was not his, Victor Matthews committed theft and fraud. Restitution will be required and further charges may be pursued. The words landed like thunder in the room. Victor's face turned pale. My relatives sat in stunned silence, and for the first time since Grandma died, I felt like I could breathe again. The jewelry might not all come back, but justice had been served. Weeks later, Miss Daniels called me with unexpected news. You are not going to believe this, she said. The jewelry was not all sold. Victor pawned part of it locally. The pawn shop still has several pieces. Because you have proof of ownership, they must return them to you. My heart leapt. A few days later, I held the oak chest again. Inside were Grandma's wedding necklace, her bangles, and her engagement ring. Some pieces were missing, yes, but the most meaningful ones had found their way back to me. I wept as I touched them, whispering, We did it, Grandma. We won. Victor's reputation collapsed. Relatives who once defended him now avoided him. Friends stopped answering his calls. Even his own children looked at him differently. He had gained money for a short time, but it cost him everything else: his dignity, his family's trust, his standing in the community. As for me, the change was quiet but powerful. The same relatives who doubted me now turned to me for guidance. They no longer saw me as the young girl in the family. They saw me as the woman who defended our legacy. I placed the chest in a secure safe along with the receipt and court documents, but I did not keep it hidden away. I began wearing some of the jewelry on special occasions, not for vanity, but for remembrance. Grandma's necklace at my graduation, her bangles at my first big job interview, her engagement ring the day I signed the papers for my first home. Each piece became a reminder that strength does not always roar. Sometimes it waits silently, sometimes it strikes only when the moment is right. Looking back, I realized the jewelry was not the real victory. The real victory was proving that truth, patience, and preparation can cut deeper than greed. Victor believed I was too young, too naive, too weak to fight him. He thought he could outsmart me with lies, but he did not expect that I had Grandma's wisdom and the receipt to fight back. That was my story. If you have ever had a family member betray you over money or inheritance, share your experience in the comments. I would love to hear your stories. And do not forget to like this video if you believe proof is the sharpest weapon. Subscribe to Mortal Revenge for more shocking family betrayal stories and hit the bell so you never miss the next twist, because sometimes the sweetest revenge is not screaming or fighting. It is standing calmly in court, holding the truth in your hands while the liar crumbles under the weight of his own greed.